What's up, superhumans? The other day, I got a message asking, hey, are you still going up the mountain? At the start of the year, I made some pretty lofty goals. Got my ruck vest on, one of which was do a 50-mile ruck with 50 pounds. The other was to do a half marathon, run a whole marathon, win a world championship in jiu-jitsu, and summit a 20,000 foot peak. All of these goals are going to require a higher level of cardiorespiratory fitness.
And then I moved up to running. And then I stopped.
I am 42 years old and I've had a laundry list of injuries. And given the fact that at the start of the year I was 215 pounds when I should have been closer to 195, it meant every time that I would go out to run, I would just pound the hell out of my joints and I would be in a tremendous amount of pain. Because of that pain, I just kind of put everything on the back burner. I mean, I trained. I still train. I train like twice a day. I just wasn't focusing on the running and the hard endurance work. Instead, I really put my focus onto weight loss, and I'm down to about 205 to 207. But I still am in a lot of pain when I run. But instead of being frustrated and not doing anything about it, I took some action. That's when I bought the Mark. You saw me do a video on that, and it's helped tremendously with my back pain. I'm using it very consistently. I think I actually mentioned this in the last video, but basically when I got hurt and I had to leave volleyball, anything that reminded me of volleyball, I just stopped doing altogether. Completely neglected it. We're talking about plyometrics, dieting, hell, going barefoot. Anything that reminded me of volleyball, I just stopped doing. Well, it's time to pay the piper because that neglect has led to some profoundly horrible effects, the likes of which a few myofascial tools are not going to fix. So I've decided to see a PT. That's where I'm headed now. I'm going to go meet with a PT, something I should have done years ago, and see if she can help me reconstruct all of this. Today is the first day of trying to get everything back. Okay, it has been a couple of weeks since I went to PT. I've actually been a couple of times. I'm going to give you the cliff notes of what the diagnosis was and our plan moving forward, and then also just finish wrapping up this video. And because I'm outside, of course, every construction worker within a 300-mile radius is somewhere around the house, so please forgive the noise. In that first visit, basically she wanted to get a bunch of what they call goniometric measurements, and that's where she's taking measurements of actual limb length and seeing how the limbs moved. Now, what kind of stinks is that I've got so many problems and so few time in a single visit to address all of those. So my shoulder pain and my knee pain that I've been experiencing is taking a back seat to the back pain. I've mitigated a lot of the back pain, but my back is doing weird things. And so no matter how many times I use the Mark to help alleviate the back pain, it's never gonna go away because it's acting like a Band-Aid. We need to address the real issue. What is the real issue? So I've mentioned this back injury before. It's the back injury that took me out of volleyball. I had a double compression fracture of my L4 and my L5. It essentially broke my back. To protect my back, I started moving my lower back as one big chunk. Your back isn't supposed to do that. It's supposed to move in segments, right? Each of those discs, there's segmentation to it. And to protect myself, I wasn't allowing my discs to do that because it would cause more pain. Well, I did that for so long that essentially a large portion of my lower back has turned off. There's no longer a connection. I'm no longer able to segment those discs as they should. So it's wild. She gave me a couple exercises and she was like, okay, I want you to twist, put your hand here and we're gonna twist, and I want you to feel each of those segments move individually. And I couldn't. It felt like literally nothing was there. I could feel the middle of my back and then my sacrum and nothing in between. And so what's happening when I described to her how athletic I was and why I was athletic, I was plyometrically gifted. I had so much pop, like reactive force. I was not strong, I was not powerful, I wasn't fast, but I had a lot of reactive pop. And it makes sense that that feels like it's gone because I can't even feel that. So there are things in between those discs that act as shock absorbers, and they're not doing their job. They can't do their job because there's no connection. My brain isn't connecting to those little fibers, those little muscles, to do their job. And so a big portion of what we're doing right now is trying to get back that segmentation. I'm doing some weird drills, and one of which is like what you saw in the bed. The second of which is like the opposite. It's like this weird thing where I lay down on my back, prone position, and I let my knees fall over, but I'm not letting them fall over. I'm having to feel that connection. I mean, if I'm doing that, that's like a pretty gnarly ab workout.
Yeah.
Just like trying to get that back.
Yes.
All right, so let's compute.
And that's exactly what this is. This and the other one, we're not working on strength, we're not working on power, we're working on motor control.
The other thing we did is the next week I went in and we started doing testing. Where are my asymmetries, both sagittally, like front and back, and left and right? Maybe I confused that. I forgot my planes here of movement. Anyway, huge, and I knew this was going to be an issue, huge discrepancy between my right and my left leg. My right leg does virtually like 92% of the work. My left leg is doing so little. She was like, oh my gosh.
Look at that
How
difference.
much force you're producing. Huge difference here.
Yep.
You know, right versus left.
What is that, 2.72 to 0.37?
Bare minimum for just, you know, somebody to come in and say, I want to run a local 5K. I'd want to see 65%.
And so part of the strength portion of the PT, physical therapy, is doing some of these isometric halts. But now what we discovered is one of the other reasons I'm sucking at running in endurance sports is my muscles they're struggling to find 60%. And so the work that I'm doing right now is load for 60% for 10 seconds, deload to 20%, not all the way off.
Okay, so I don't know if you could see what was going on, but essentially, I'm not actually taking a break. So my hamstring is trying to hit 60% and hold it for 10 seconds, and then it's going down to like 20% for 10 seconds, and that's my break. But part of my problem is for the last 20 years, the way I've trained, it's been all or nothing.
And it is absolutely exhausting. And of course, the difference between my right leg and my left leg is huge. So the 60% of my left leg is virtually nothing. 60% of my right leg is really gnarly. But that's the plan. I haven't given up endurance sports. I'm still doing it. I'm still rucking. I'm still hiking. I'm trying to run every once in a while. But a bunch of the things I've been doing are Band-Aids, and I really need to fix things. Not patch things up, but fix and replace and get to the root of all things.
That's the other misconception. PT is not just like stretching. When I hear people say, oh, I just have to stretch more, I'm like, it's like somebody that says, I want to be an Olympic level fencer, and then they say, I just need to stretch more. No, for me to get back to where I was, it's going to take a myriad of things, not just stretching, not just getting rid of pain, but it's fixing these imbalances. And this is hard freaking work.
And this is the big point that I wanted to make. I think virtually everybody should go see a PT because it's not just about the pain. It's figuring out what's going on and how can we completely reshape you so that you can feel better and prevent any further injuries. This is something I feel off. I should have been doing this so long ago, but I can't get that back. Incredibly valuable to have a great PT that's going to take a look at you globally. Like, had I gone in there and she had just addressed the knee pain or the shoulder pain, I don't know if it would have been as worthwhile as her going, I understand that those are some of the issues that you're experiencing. She acknowledged those, but she wanted to dive as deep as she possibly could to get an entire, she wanted a real global look at what was going on with me. And you do have to trust that process. It can be kind of gnarly, but I think she's done a great job. I'm very confident with the plan that we have now. Now, unfortunately, some of the goals that I've made for this year, they're just simply not going to be obtainable this year. But I have a great outlook on 2025. Anyway, thanks again. I will catch you later. Peace.